Or she says something like, oh, just so you know, I'm a good girl. I say, hey, listen, I already know you're a good person. You know, I can see you're kind and blah, 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 whatever I can see about her. Regardless of whether you sleep with me or not, that has no bearing on whether I think you're a good girl or not. Because again, I'm reframing. She says good girl, which she thinks means, because she's been told that, means I don't have sex with guys until 2 more hours later, until the planet turns around one more time, and then it's okay to have sex. Okay, whatever. Is that what the planet does? Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it flat with ice or something? Let's have a brief talk about this. We can call this last minute hesitation or last minute resistance, or girls changing their mind once they're in the seduction location, which happens for sure. And it's going to happen to you more often as you get faster at picking girls up, right? Because you've got to remember that for most women, their experiences of going home with men are a mixture of, whoops, I got drunk, something just happened. You know, so like unplanned, usually drunk things. Or that they've been, you know, knowing a guy in their social circle for a decent length of time, and one way or another they eventually hook up, and so they've got a lot of comfort and rapport with the guy already. So the situation of meeting a guy sober in the day on a Tuesday afternoon, and then being on a date with him that night and being home with him is an extremely odd situation for most women. Like, most women will never actually experience that because there's so few competent day gamers out there doing this. So for her, she's just like, oh, I was having a chat, and oh, what? And then here I am at this guy's house, and cumulatively you've spent, you know, 2 hours together or something like that, 2 or 3 hours, which is an extremely short amount of time to become intimate with somebody. So yeah, you'll find that this hesitation will come up more and more often as you get faster at getting girls home. Right? So you can expect it, and there's different ways to deal with it, right? Because there's lots of different ways to deal with it. Very often there is a way around it, right? Because often a girl will say things like this: just so you know, we're not having sex tonight. I'm not that kind of girl. You know, I barely know you. I don't sleep with guys on the first night. Like, she has a rule about it, right? So those things can and will come up. And there is absolutely the option that she says, just so you know, it's not happening tonight. And you say, yep, totally cool. All right, off. Let's get you a taxi, and off you go. Cool, can do that. However, you may find there's this kind of phenomena known as buyer's remorse, old school pickup terminology, where a girl finds herself in a situation where things accelerate really fast. She puts the brakes on and then leaves. And then when you're like, hey, let's meet up again, now she knows, well, and now she's like out of state, right? So she's not in her emotions or her arousal. She's in her, you know, logic. And then you text her again, and she's like, oh, I have to have sex with him if I see him again, because we got that far, and then he's going to expect that, and then you can find, I'm not saying that will happen, but you can find that then she just vanishes. All right, I've had that happen quite a number of times where, you know, I'm fingering her and we're everything but, and then she's like, I really want to see you, I'll see you next time, and then she just totally flakes and vanishes because of that, essentially. That feels like there's some kind of expectation on it. So, may or may not happen. So, how do we deal with it in a way that is not pushy?
I kind of want to go back to the issue where the girl wants to leave, so there's this...
last minute resistance.
Yeah, how do
we deal with that?
You got to give them the freedom to leave, but also, like, let's tone it down a little and then maybe build it back up.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of techniques that may or may not work to when she's put the brakes on. Now, if she said something along the lines of, I'm not that kind of girl, or I don't sleep with guys on the first night, this is an objection based around her fear of judgment, right? Judgment by you, and also judgment of herself to some degree. Because women have either had the experience, or they've seen women have the experience of a girl like expressing her sexuality and sleeping with a guy quickly or at a party or whatever, and then she gets heavily judged for it, right? Especially in high school, this happens. All girls will see it happen if it doesn't happen to them. You know, so, you know, particularly like when girls are going through the puberty and they're like sexually expressive, often they can just do wild things. You know, a 16-year-old girl just blows a guy at a party, right? Because she wanted to. And then the guy goes and says, hey, I got a fucking blowjob from Sarah last night, and fucking it was pretty good, eh? And then everyone goes, yeah, blowjob Sarah. Fucking Australia. And then
It's a very sad story.
it is.
Extremely sad story.
It is a sad story.
Also funny.
Yeah, I delivered a tragic comedy. So, I mean, that kind of stuff happens. I mean, every girl will have at least seen it happen. And then she's like, whoa, it's not safe to express my sexuality because there's real world consequences for it. Right? So, and that can then extrapolate through her life. Now, there's plenty of girls to whom they don't give a fuck. You know, they live in a subculture or a scene where people are, you know, let's say sex positive. And if they want to fuck, they fuck. Right? But there's a lot of judgment and conditioning and shame and possibly, you know, religious things or whatever it is, cultural things, where it's taboo and you're not supposed to have sex except if you're married or if you're in a long-term relationship or whatever. So what you want to do in that situation is show her you're not that guy. You're not the guy that judges. You're not society, man. Right? So she says something like, look, I don't sleep with guys on the first night. I'll say something like, well, I want to. No. I'll say, look, I totally understand if you don't want to sleep with me because you literally don't want to sleep with me, of course, that's cool. But you don't need to worry about being judged with me. I understand that as a woman out in the world, you have to protect yourself and you have to pretend to be like a virginal princess, but I'm not interested in that kind of stuff. If I want to be with someone and they want to be with me, I actually respect you more if you follow your desire. Seductive reasoning here. Right? And there's lots of, you know, variations on the way I might say that, but essentially the message is you don't need to worry about that with me. You can do what you want to do, right? You know, or I say, look, you know, I only want you to do what you want to do, but I hope you're not going to let the outside world decide for you who and what you should be, right? And that's another kind of version of it where I'm like going, well, actually, it's kind of pretty like a loserish, sheeple thing to do to let the world tell you what to do. When you're with me, we can just express ourselves. Yeah. Or she says something like, "Oh, just so you know, I'm a good girl." I say, "Hey, listen, I already know you're a good person. Like I've enjoyed, you know, I can see you're kind and blah blah blah, whatever I can see about her. Regardless of whether you sleep with me or not, that has no bearing on whether I think you're a good girl or not." Right? Because again, I'm reframing. She says good girl, which she thinks means, because she's been told that, means I don't have sex with guys until 2 more hours later, right? You know, until the planet turns around one more time, and then it's okay to have sex. Okay, whatever. Is that what the planet does? Yeah, yeah. Isn't it flat with ice or something? Instead, it's like, no, I see you like I see your human good qualities, regardless of who or when, why you've had sex. That's irrelevant. Again, it shows her that I'm not the kind of guy to judge. Now, you want to be really aware of this. If you have any like Madonna whore, slight misogyny in you, which most men have it in somewhere, women are watching out for signals of that. Because if you're sitting with a girl at a bar and then you see a girl in a short dress and you go, shit, look at this slut. Yeah, or you know, this girl's looking for it tonight. That she knows you're not safe anymore. She knows you're potentially dangerous, because if you'll do that to her, you could do it to her. Yeah.
How can you avoid this thing?
By not judging any woman in you know, when you're with any other woman, and better not to at all, I would say. I mean, you can judge people on their behaviors, on their ethics, on their morals, but you shouldn't be judging them on their sexuality, I don't think. Anyway. And if you do, women will be scared of you, and even you could have a girlfriend for 3 years. Like I said, I was with that girl the other night. She said she was with her boyfriend for 4 years, and she's like, she never did any of the stuff she did with me after knowing me for an hour, right? Because because I met her online, or I did my BDSM chat kind of thing with her, and she came straight over, and she was terrified, but she was there to like do everything, but she was terrified. And you know, she came and I could see. I said, I can see you feel tense, but look in my eyes. Do you trust me? Can you see that I have care for you? And she's like, yes. And I said, well, we're going to take as much time as you need so that you can relax. It didn't take very long. Yeah. But that girl that night, you know, did anal for the first time, was tied up, was flogged, did tantra, came on her face, like extreme stuff, much of which she'd never done before, or certainly didn't do with her long-term boyfriend, because it felt right. Because even though it was like quite nasty, it was done with a lot of care. And so she was able to go, oh, this is the guy where I can do my freak, where I can, explore all this stuff because there's no consequences. It's not dangerous. Whereas, if she's got the boyfriend and she notices little things over time that he judges other women in some kind of ways, she won't show him very much of her sexuality. She'll be like, okay, we just do the vanilla sex and stuff. Even though I really want to be spanked, I'll never let him know because when we were watching that movie, he went, oh, that's weird. She's into that, huh? And then she notes that and goes, okay, I can't show that because then he's going to think I'm weird or perverted or a freak and he'll judge me. So I want to keep him as a boyfriend because of X, Y, Z reasons, but he's not going to see the rest of it. And that's, when girls are more likely to cheat. I mean, it's not the only reason, but it's one reason that if she's not able to express herself fully sexually, she'll find somebody else who can do that for her. I've had many female friends or women that I've interviewed talk about situations where they've had a boyfriend that they really were like on paper, all awesome, they loved him, but he wouldn't do, like one in particular I'm thinking of, where she's like, can you spank me? And he's like, I can't do that. I really don't want to hurt you. I don't want to abuse you. And she's like, it's not abuse. I want you to do it. In fact, I need you to do it. I can't even really explain why. It just feels really good for me. And he just couldn't do it because in his mind, it was abuse, right? It's coming from a good place, but he's wrong because he's basing it upon that he wouldn't want to be spanked and he would think that would be abusive. But for her, it's a loving act, right? So anyway, the main point of that is there's lots of different ways I can show her that I'm different from the other guys, right? That she is safe in this space with me, right? And so other techniques for dealing with this, she puts the brakes on and you say, all right, cool. Well then let's chill. Just come here and cuddle, right? So I take the pressure off to have penetrative sex, but we're still doing something intimate. And that could be like, all right, give me space then because you've turned me on so much. Let's just chill for a bit. Sometimes that alone just makes the girl go, fucking give me that dick. Yeah. Because suddenly there's no pressure on her to do it. I take it off, and now she wants it. Yeah, I even remember one Russian girl a long time ago. She was doing that, and it was like 5 times where she's like, no sex. And I was like, okay. And she said, when you don't want, I want. And then I came and she's like, no. And I'm like, all right. And it took six of those before she finally had sex with me. So it's called, the classic one is a freeze out. It's kind of an old school mystery method. One of the few things in mystery method I think was pretty good. I used to even do it like this, where I had, do you know the game Connect 4? Yeah, old school 80. You're of this, you don't know Connect 4? Oh, it was an awesome game.
What's that?
Connect 4. It's like a game where you put things in, it's like a board game, let's say.
Go for it! I win! Connect 4!
So yeah, basically I was doing this for a while because I was, back when I was very active, right? I was taking girls home every night. That's all I did. So there was moving, and I was getting a lot of LMR, a lot. And so I came up with this idea where, she said, just so you know, we're not having sex tonight. And then I'd say, all right, well, then don't touch me. Actually, I got an idea. And then I'd go and take out the Connect 4 and say, let's play this game. And I'm like, and I'd be really into it. And they're like, all right. And she's like, the fuck? She's doing it. And I'm like, yeah. And then I'd win. I'm like, all right, another game. And then she's like, just get out, give me the dick. Because it was boring. So yeah, because all women are used to when a man gets a chance, he's just clawing and he's pushing and he's trying to get something. And then it puts her in a position of like, either both of you want that, or she's under resistance, which means she's in her head. It means she's monitoring you. She's has to be like aware, is this even safe? Are we on the edge of where I need to get the fuck out of this place? Right? Because men are pushy. Most women have had at least, being grabbed and followed in the streets or something. Like most women have had unwanted sexual touch, if not sexual abuse or rape. So, it's a real thing. And it's fucking dangerous, so dangerous for a girl to come home with any of us or anyone. Like we're big and we're strong-ish, and we can kill them. And yet they still come home with us. It's insane that that ever happens. So we have to be aware of that kind of stuff. That because we know we're not violent or we're not going to do anything nasty to her, but she doesn't know that. She just met you, because sometimes nice guys turn out to be really not nice guys. Yeah, so we have to be aware of that. Like, how does it feel for? How do we make her feel comfortable? You know, like, is she thirsty? Is she hungry? Is it cold in here? Is it like dirty and messy in a way where she's like, I can't fuck here. Like, that's gonna make me feel like trash. So the bed should be made. There's some nice lighting. It should smell nice. You know, basic things where she's like, okay, I feel like a lady and therefore I can be a slut. Yeah, as opposed to like, this guy doesn't give a shit about him. He's taking me into this place, and then, okay, well, I would feel trashy if I had sex with him in this situation. Yeah. I mean, dealing with periods, because that's often a thing where she's like, oh, I can't. I will bring that up. Sometimes she's like, oh no, not tonight, and I'll say, are you on your period? If she says yes, then I say, listen, I'm a grown man. I've lived with women before. Let's just turn the lights off. I'll put a towel down, and very commonly that works. I even had one a couple of years ago where she was like, I'm on my period. I said the thing. She said, but I don't have any tampons. I said, as soon as we're finished, you're going to be in the shower and I'm going downstairs to the 7-Eleven. I'm going to buy you tampons. And I did. Right? And it's that's such a baller masculine move. Because like, I'm so at ease and confident with myself is that I'll walk in and I'll buy tampons for the girl and I'll give it to her. That's maturity. Right?
I had that discussion with my girlfriend. I thought, like, I kind of hesitate because I did it with some girl before and I got like blood on my dick.
Yeah, you're going to get blood on your dick.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Well, I don't give a shit. Like, I've got blood on my dick, shit on my dick, whatever, it's fine.
German
Look,
flag.
yeah, look, if...
So, but it's a positive to push through and just have sex. She'll find it sexy, having sex with her.
Like, it's more like, it's not necessarily that it's sexy or not. It's just like, we just deal with it. It's human stuff. Like, if you really, people can have hard limits. Some guys just like, I don't eat pussy. And I'm like, what the fuck? I don't get it. That's going to affect your sex life and it's going to affect the woman's sex life. But if you're hard no on going down on a girl, okay, you don't like what you don't like, I guess. It's fine. Like, if for you it's just absolutely a no-no, then it's okay. But, maybe try it. You can do it, again, you can do it in a way. You can do it in the shower. You can do it with the condom on. You can do it, with the lights off and a red towel down so that it's, less mess. But, it's the reality of a woman's body.
The point I'm trying to ask about is like, will they respect it? If they respect you, they like you having sex with them while blood is...
Mostly, yeah. There are some girls to whom they're like, I will never have sex on my period. It's just icky. I don't want to do it. Right? Some girls will be like that, but for most girls, because they've had to deal with it since they were 13, 14 or whatever, they know that this is the reality of a woman's body. They're not just a Barbie doll or a sex doll, that they're a baby making machine that bleeds. And so a man that's chill with that and it's cool with it, mostly they will highly respect that. Yeah. But again, yeah, some girls are absolute no's on it, but most of the girls I've been with, especially when I've got a girlfriend, we fuck, 30 days a month. Yeah.
How do you counter, okay, I'm leaving, I have to go, where they're really like getting dressed, ready to go for the door? How do you counter that?
Well, if she's got to go, she's got to go. But if she's like, I really should leave, then yeah, I'll say, you can, of course, leave whenever you want, but don't you want to hang out for a bit longer? Like, yeah. Or whenever you're ready, I'll get you a taxi. And I mean, I've had both things happen where, because she's like, oh, but I'm like, you can, and I'm not going to try and stop you, and I'll help you get home, which then often takes the pressure off again. Yeah. But sure, if she's like, all right, no, okay, that's it, I'm leaving now, and she's putting her clothes on, all right, get her home safely, and more than likely she'll see you again. Good day, gents. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Now, question for you. It's halfway through the year, and I want to know, how's your dating life going? Are you approaching women? Are you getting on dates? Are you getting into the types of relationships that you want with the women that you desire? If the answer is no and you'd like my help with that, then you should consider joining me for my very final live in-field natural game seduction workshop for the year. July dates in Lisbon are already sold out. Too late. So I put up final dates, which are from the 14th until the 20th of August in Budapest, Hungary, where you can join me and my world-class team as we take you through peak summer madness in Budapest, teaching you the fine art and science of approaching women in everyday situations and getting them on goddamn dates. So if you'd like to join us, all you need to do is click the link in the description, book in a free call with my team. We can chat to you about your situation and figure out if this is the right fit for you and if you're the right fit for us. And then hopefully we'll see you on the first day of the workshop. And if not, we'll see you in the next video.